Good afternoon, everybody. Anybody want to speak? You know, not going to change your mind, come over and sign this? If not, I'd like to call this meeting to order at 6 o'clock.
Mayor Hicks, Mayor Pro Tem Vasquez,
Here?
Councilor Reynolds. Here. Councilor Lucero,
Here.
Councilor Padilla.
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to ask if Robert, could you give us a prayer for tonight?
Which Robert?
This one.
Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for the opportunity that we have to gather with the Grant City Council tonight. We are grateful for the opportunity to be able to participate with our government. And we ask Thee, Father, to please bless those that are making decisions on our behalf, that they may be guided by Thee, by Thy Spirit, to have the wisdom to make the correct decisions that will be best for our community. Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for the rain that's coming, and we ask Thee to continue to send it forth, that it will continue to bless our ranchers and farmers and give us the water that we need for our city, our county, and our state. We ask Thee to bless those in our communities that are sick and afflicted and those who are hurting. We ask Thee to send Thy Spirit to bless and comfort them, and to bless us with the inspiration as to how we can help and to serve to make things better. We ask for these blessings in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Okay, need a motion to approve the agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda for today's July 23rd.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, citizens to address the council. Nobody wanted to speak today, huh? Something you guys would give me a challenge. I want to thank you for that. One thing before we start off, I would like for us to be professional at this. If there is a speaker, whether it's the mayor, the councilman, the manager, and they have the floor, I would appreciate if nobody would interrupt them until they are finished. Thank you. Okay, we move on to public comments and on our public this charter compliance. Okay, I hear that we're not in compliance, but we are getting that taken care of. Next, I'd like to move on to number 2, approval of the regular city council minutes for 7/19/18.
I'd like to say that our city clerk is doing a fantastic job at recording the minutes, and she's really doing a great job. I haven't had to do many corrections before the meetings, and so I really appreciate that.
Good job.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve the minutes for July 9th.
I second.
Tonight we have I need a, Cindy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Great, yes. Number 3, report, presentation by the library board, Ron Gonzalez.
So we have our director, Ron Gonzalez, here tonight, and I've asked him to give us a report of some of the things that are going on at our library.
Okay. Who's the shorty that set this up? No, I'm kidding. Oh, sorry, man. You're doing a great job. Well, I just wanted to, of course, first of all, thank you for the time. In case you haven't noticed, there's a few cars parked around 1st and 2nd Street of Roosevelt. So it's actually very, the timing is perfect that I should see you tonight because just a few weeks ago, the State Library called me and said, you know, we have this initiative happening called Libraries Transform. And it's literally, it's an initiative by the state that gathers information about libraries, that asks libraries, how do you tell your story? What do you put in your story? If you had to tell the story of your library, what would it be? And they did call us and say, would you mind if we hosted one of our workshops at your library? We've heard a lot about it, via word of mouth, via some of the state librarians that work. And so we did indeed have a workshop there. They asked if I would present, and of course I agreed. And so I went about going, what is the story of the Grants Public Library? And so immediately, you know, you go to data, right? Everybody loves data. So I started thinking about the nearly 50,000 people that have come through our door the last year or so, 34,000 since December alone. I thought about the almost 19,000 books we've checked out in a year, and the 1,000 or so new cards that we printed since December. And then, you know, I started thinking, well, those are just numbers. What else could comprise this story? So I started thinking, just making a list of who I could ask to help tell this story. So I thought maybe I'd ask the kids at the Footprints of Life or Small Wonders, who we visit every month and deliver a story time to. I thought we could approach and ask the students of St. Teresa, Mesa View, Milan, Mount Taylor, San Rafael, Cubero, Rema, Los Alamitos, who all have toured the library within the last month and have received a unique tour. I thought about maybe asking the students that took part in our robotics convention that we did with LAMS. I thought maybe we could ask the GHS baseball team and cheerleaders who performed in the library last summer and are doing that again coming up here shortly. I thought I could ask some of the veterans who took part in the resource fair that we held in the courtyard, and maybe the authors, the 4 different authors we've hosted to do book signings. We had one on Friday that attracted more than 100 people. I thought I could ask our Youth Advisory Council that has been going strong since December, what would they think? How has this library transformed them and or the community? I thought I could ask my summer intern, Isaiah Sandoval, who just finished a round of tutoring at Mesa View with Miss Holden's class, and who has worked with me this summer and will do so through mid-August. And the list went on. I could ask the guys from Grants Projects, the Grants Fire Department, the Grants Police Department, businesses like C&E Concrete, Grants Cibolo County Schools, who have all used our conference room. Surely they could help tell the story. I might ask parents and or children that have attended the more than 56 free programs, puppet shows and story times and arts and crafts days and ancient artifacts. Maybe they could help tell the story. They could have a unique perspective. I thought I could even go to the people who are there to print resumes for jobs, who are filling out applications, who are getting hunting license, attaining food servers licenses, filling out their taxes, and most importantly, checking that Facebook page. It's very important, right? And then it all came around back again to my staff. I surely could ask them, Nita Ford, Dixie Diaz, Jean Ann Clemens, Peter Klumpenhauer, Douglas Hassel. They just do what I ask them to do, and with very little complaint, and they do a great job. And then through all that, I thought, wait a minute, that's the story. That's the story of this library. That's how the story of the Grants Public Library is being told. Through those countless computer sessions and story times and puppet shows that you think don't mean so much. But when we get cards from schools written to us personally thanking us for doing something as simple as a story time, it's powerful. And so I realize all those people that I just mentioned are telling the story of the Grants Public Library. And really, it's a story that's just beginning to be told, if you ask me. We've only been in the new building since December, and a lot of the numbers I threw at you are a little bit skewed by that, but that only tells me we're just at the beginning here with this thing. So, to best get the full picture, I urge all of you to come by someday, come and see the little ones making noisy things in the makerspace, and come check out our 3D printer and read a story to a kid. Come and see what I'm seeing, and that is that there really is no end to the type of person that uses the library every day, and more importantly, the story does not have an end yet. We're still telling this story and invite you all to help us tell the story in the days going forward. I would entertain any questions or comments if you have any.
Well, I have one. Do your hours of operation meet the needs of the people of the community?
I'd say so far they are. We, back in May before school started, we opted to extend our hours by an hour, which has had some mixed results. We don't see a whole lot of people in the first hour we're open, between 9 and 10. Same with between 6 and 7. But we think that with school starting, that our resources will be better. You know, we might see a change in that. So, but so far, I would venture to say that we are. There's a few that, you know, you'll get a call at 8:15 and they want to get in there and you're not quite open, and that's to be expected. But I think moreover, I do believe that we are.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What about the Mother Whiteside? Is
Oh,
there a Mother
boy.
Whiteside display?
Laura, can you help me? No, I'm kidding. There has been some questions about this. Really, I think what we've finally agreed to do is, not agreed to do, it's just been a matter of time. We will honor Mother Whiteside at the new library via a plaque and some pertinent information that explains her impact in having the library here at High Street. But we'll also nod to the new library, the new sort of phase of this library that doesn't necessarily contain her name, but carries the spirit that she would have, offered. And then we plan to do some things even at the building at 525 West High to, again, kind of further honor her name and in conjunction with all that. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Okay, moving on, we go to Resolution 18-1596, supporting enhanced safety in the public schools. Robert, can you help us out?
I can. Goes this way. Well, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, city manager, staff, and our audience. Basically, what I'm asking for is a resolution from this governing body stating that we need some enhanced safety at our schools. A little background: on June 23rd, I attended a safety meeting in Albuquerque with New Mexico Municipal League, and they had a resolution that they had put together in May of this year concerning enhancing safety in public schools, and I think you have a copy of that with you. And what I've been doing is I'm going to the entities around our area, the village, the city, of course, the Board of Education, and the county, and I've got a couple of dates still coming up for those. The village was very receptive, and they passed the resolution. The last one was there on Tuesday. And it just boils down to what has been going on nationwide. And we need to be ahead of the curve and present these resolutions to our state legislature in January of 2019. The chief of Aztec, Chief Heel, had a tragedy December 7th, and he lost 2 of his students. And that's the 4th one that we've had in some years here in New Mexico. So he has a grassroots effort with regards to trying to get the word to our state legislators that monies are going to be needed for safety in our schools. There are some schools that you can walk right in, some schools you can't. We need them all to be as safe. We need to all provide due diligence. So with that, I'm just asking for the resolution that you have before you. It's 1815-96, saying that, you know what? state legislators, this governing body says we need some more safety for our schools. Questions?
Yeah, Robert.
Sir?
What's this 18-1596 versus these 15-?
This one here is the resolution that the safety committee put together in May in Albuquerque. These are the points that they're going to represent at the state legislature. The resolution that I'm asking for is to say that this governing body is on board with these points on the resolution that they came up with.
You know, some of the ideas are, things they're gonna come up with to help the schools around the state for their safety.
Yes.
You know, what programs are gonna implement.
Well, like I said, in this resolution, it mentions trying to change PRA so that retired law enforcement can come back to work. And what a resource that these schools would have. Threats using social media. Restrictions on purchasing firearms for those who are really ill-equipped to have them. And a student ID system at each school for children and their families. Because, and it mentions a few more on these as well. But there are a number of things that we need to start with. We need to start somewhere. We know that this is not going to happen overnight. And the policy committee that I went to, Laura was at that same meeting in her set. We need to just come up to the state legislature and say, you know what? You're the only ones that are going to have the money to keep our kids safe. Fire and police here in this community, we do as much as we can, but we need to make the schools themselves as safe as we can. And this is where it starts.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Again, I have a question.
Sure.
A couple of years ago, I could actually go into the high school. It was actually the high school. The high school has a lot of access ways. You can't access them from outside, but if you know that someone's in there and you knock on those doors, they will open those panic doors. And the panic doors, as of 2 years ago, did not have an alarm system.
That's correct.
Are they going to have an alarm system? You can put portable alarm systems on for not that much money. Once I gained access, although I have a smiling face, once you're inside, there isn't anything anyone can do.
That's right. It's going to take education. It's going to
I
take
mean, there's
a lot of
They
work
shouldn't be
between.
opening up the door to
Exactly. It's all about education. The chief and me are going to have to try and see what recommendations can be made. I've made some to the previous superintendent. I've seen them come to the schools and say, this is what we need to do, but there are no dollars to do it. And I hate to say it, but that's what it boils down to. The school board has X amount of dollars, just like the city has X amount of dollars. The only place who has extra money is our state legislature, so to speak. I agree, ma'am. I agree wholeheartedly that it is easy to get in some of the schools and it's not in others.
So Robert, if you work with the committee in the future, it'd be good to recommend these changes, these improvements, but money to support them as well.
Correct, and that's what this is starting with, the grassroots effort to say, I want to send all these to the chief of Aztec, and he's going to take the ones that are pulling from the entire state. He's going to go with them to our legislators in December or January, whenever that happens, and say, look, we believe that there is an incredible problem with our school systems, with security and education, how to keep them safe. We need to start somewhere.
It all comes down to dollars.
Unfortunately, it does. It does.
Anything else? No? I entertain a motion to approve this.
I make a motion that we accept resolution number 18-1596.
I second.
Yeah. Right?
Yes.
Yes, I vote yes.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna read the-
You are? You don't have to.
I know. Okay, so moving on to contract for professional service from MRV Technical Service.
Yes, so we have Michael Brown here with us this evening, and Michael has had a contract with the city for at least a year now, what's called a small professional service contract. He's going to share with you some of the work he's done for the city with this contract. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Lori. Members of the City Council, I appreciate you having me here this evening. I'd like to share with you some of the projects that I worked on over the past year and ask for a continuation of this contract for the year to come. The first project that I was involved with was recoating of the water tanks and the painting of the water tanks. I was involved with this project basically from the ground level. There had been a request for proposal. There were some problems with it, and about that time was when I came on with my contract. And so we reissued the RFP based on an updated scope of work. Where I started was looking at different coating systems that were available, what their life expectancy was, what the options were from different manufacturers, and ultimately worked those recommendations into the scope of work, which also included lead abatement. I worked with Laura and several other members to select a contractor, and at that point, once construction and painting started, I was there to observe and document throughout the process. And we will be going back out with the contractor, O'Reilly Industrial, for their one-year walkthrough in December to make sure that there's no issues that they can do with this. One project that was kind of ongoing was sidewalk repairs. So basically, I worked based on DOT standard specifications to come up with scopes of work. And then before they were going to pour, make sure everything was excavated and backfilled properly. Kind of a small project. There's a lift at the Route 66 pump station that there was some lost functionality because it wasn't able to bring the pumps up high enough to load them into the back of a truck. And so I actually worked with Les Gaines on this and engineered some stands to bring that up so that it was more functional. And just made sure everything was safe and provided some stamp engineering drawings as well. I worked with Ray Jenkins out at the airport. He has kind of a long-term vision for what he'd like to see happen there, and part of the very beginning steps of that was to create some more area that's basically at a similar elevation to the current runway and taxiway. So initially discussed some long-term goals. They had someone look at this in the past. We went ahead and did a survey of the development area and did some volumetric calculations to determine how much fill was going to need to be imported, and did a cost estimate to find out what it would cost if they had to import that material and pay for it. So ultimately, it sounds like they were able to get some borrowed material from another project, and I'm not sure exactly how many acres they were able to cover, but they were able to bring some of that up to elevation. I worked on this project with Laura. The water department, I guess whenever it's raining, there's some problems with water, getting bills and things like that wet. So she asked for a set of plans for basically a canopy to cover and kind of prevent that from happening. So this is an area where the foundation and things like that, I have to reach out to another engineer I work with to help get this done. As you guys know from last year, my background is actually more on the mechanical side. This is an ongoing project. The fuel tanks, they need to have access to the top of them so they can stick and make sure there's no water in the tanks, check fluid levels, things like that. And so I worked with Ray to kind of go over the concept for an access platform for both that and maintenance that was going to be OSHA compliant. So this is the initial iteration. This project is ongoing. So what we're doing right now is we're kind of scaling things back to keep construction costs lower, but I hope to have that project completed really soon as well. So over the past year, total project cost, including the cost of the tank project there at the airport, is approximately $18,000. And I would just thank you for the opportunity to provide these services and answer any questions that you might have.
So what I'm doing is I'm requesting that we enter into another contract with Michael, and basically we set a limit that the contract will be no more than $60,000, but it's project by project what we see that he can help us with, and we approach him and then he gives us a quote of what the job can be done for. so I'm asking that we enter. I feel like we saved a lot of money. Michael is a local, so it was very helpful. His fees are less than when we bring a company in from out of town. I initially met Michael when we were trying to hire our own engineer. We posted in the paper and we didn't get any applications, but he did approach me and say he would like to do some work for the city, but would like to do it as a contractor.
Are there some other small projects that we're gonna be working on?
I'm sure there are, I don't have any off the top of my head, but I'm sure that there will be things that come up that we need an engineering stamp on. The overhang or the canopy for the water department, he just finished that. It's been about a month or two ago, so we've given that to one of the local contractors and he should be building that soon. But similar things to that our crews a lot of times are capable of doing, but we need an engineer to put their stamp on it.
I can think of one, the golf course, the new pavement that we're gonna do for the cart paths. All of those areas need to be engineered
For drainage.
for drainage, where the water's building up, and is that something that you would work on as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And that'd be another project where I do work with another construction engineer, and that's a lot of what he does is drainage for large sites, so that'd definitely be something.
That is true, because there's a lot of areas that when we do pave, we want to divert water so that it doesn't eat away the path
Right,
again.
so you're back at square one.
Right.
We pave in 2 or 3 years.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I got one, I don't know if that falls in his line of work. Under that bridge again, water's been standing there, sticks all over my house.
Yeah,
It's just, instead of going downhill, it goes uphill.
that is something I've asked our street department and our maintenance department, but let's hook them up with Michael, because it seems like continually we haven't been able to solve that.
Yeah.
So don't let us forget, Michael, that
Okay,
it's the
absolutely.
I got
flooding under the Fifth
I
Street.
got 4 years to go and I'm gonna be on you guys on that. Is that right, guys? Water goes uphill.
Yeah.
So great, I can do it for you if you don't want me.
Yeah.
I did it at the cemetery, I don't control it, so.
Right.
But if you're gonna pay him funds, have him look into that.
Yeah, we can absolutely, it'd be no problem to go do a quick survey, see what the options are.
Mark Teschman will be starting the 30th, and I told him that's the top of his list, that project, to help us with. So we'll look him up with you,
Absolutely.
and we can get that addressed.
I've got something on, I know that we're all working on that golf course, but I really talked to Laura, I talked to Rick and Fred about actually spending the extra money and actually using concrete instead of asphalt. The concrete would last longer. If we could just do it at a section at a time, it would last, 10 times longer than asphalt. And it would save us in the long run.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be, as far as, especially areas where there's gonna be some water washing
Right.
over, so it'll be a lot more.
I would like to see us, if we can move on this, hopefully every year allocate so much money for concrete. And finally, within the next 2 or 3 years, maybe we can have everything done in concrete.
And I'd be happy to, do some estimates as far as what it would cost, what the cost difference would be, and things like that. That'd be no problem as well.
Good.
So I'm requesting that you approve this contract.
Okay?
Yeah, I make a motion to approve the contract for professional services, MRB, technical services for the next year.
I second.
Fred?
Yes.
Fred?
Yes.
Yes, me, yes. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, now we come up to the Carrot Express. They are requesting $51,946.69. From what I understand is, looks like maybe Milan and us will be the only ones contributing.
I'm not sure, we have Sarah Porter here and some other staff and writers.
What physical year is this coming in, or?
I think Sarah will tell us, but I think the request is to funding for 2020.
2020, yes.
Okay.
Greetings, Mayor, Pro Tem, Council, City Manager. Thank you for the support that you have provided the Carrot Express, and also thank you for placing us on the agenda tonight. During the 3 last fiscal years, we have managed to keep the funding relatively close, even though budgets tend to increase with the economy. We have managed to allocate other resources in the state and in local entities to offset some of the costs to you guys and as well as the village. Since I've been director, I've been able to bring in 2 new buses at no cost to any entity, and 2 more are on the way. We should be getting them within the next month. Our ridership is growing and will continue to grow as those in our community are using the services more and more. We are now fully ADA compliant, and we are getting ready to offer a route service. We have not had to ask for an increase in budget in 3 fiscal years. With that being said, we are requesting the continuation of support from your city for the same amount as last year. Last month's trips were 1,478 trips, and we have already passed what we did for all of 2017, and we still have 2 months to go with the state. Public transportation is a quality of life necessity for many people that have no other means of transportation. Public transportation is a great service that is offered in our community, and with the support of your city and the village of Milan, and hopefully Cibola County, we will continuously strive to keep improving and making public transportation a great asset for our community. We go to the meeting for Cibola County on the 30th to see if they will still be able to support us. I don't know the answer to that yet, but I will be able to adjust my budget accordingly if they cannot support us. Last fiscal year, I saved $77,000 of the budget, and so far this year I managed not to use $163,000. And I still have 2 months left to go, and I don't anticipate using that amount.
Any questions?
I got a question. Excuse me. Oh yeah, this, you said students. What do you mean students? Where do you take them to?
We take them from school to after-school programs or to the other places that the school bus transportation can't provide for them.
Like where?
Some places the kids have to go to their grandparents' house after school, or to aunt and uncle, that's who watches them after school. And when they sign up for school, they are only allowed to take them to and from their home that's on where they sign up from.
So I think I introduced, did I say Porter? Sarah Porter, it's Sarah Austin.
It's
Sorry. I know too many Sarahs.
No, that's my maiden name. That's okay.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
But you don't pick them up from the house and take them to school?
No, we take them after school. If the school bus can't offer them services to or from school, then we can, per DOT standards, we can take them to and from school.
Do they call you from the school or what?
They set that right up at the beginning of, well, starting now in July, they've been starting to sign up for those services. So it's first come, first serve, and then the last sign up date will be on September 1.
I have a question. You've done a great job.
I have just one thing. You know, could we just make it 52,000? Could we just do that instead of this $51,946.69? So it'd be easier for the media and easier for everyone else.
Right, I
We're
agree.
not talking a significant amount of money, but it would be just better.
Even
An
number.
even number.
Yeah,
A nice even number.
yes. I think that's a good recommendation.
So, do we want to go with the recommendation of Councilwoman Cindy Reynolds? Instead of making it $51,946.69, make it an even $52,000.
That's fine with me.
I hear a motion.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve the Carrot Express funding for 2020 for $52,000.
I second it.
Cindy?
Yes.
Fred?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Hey, yes. Well, thank you, and
Thank
thanks
you,
for the great
guys.
job, and keep it going and keep saving some money, okay?
Thank you. Thank you for your support.
Moving on to paving material purchase. Laura, can you fill us in on this?
Yes, we're prepared to start our paving projects back up, and the first road is Mountain Road. We did an estimate, and we're anticipating that Mountain Road possibly will cost a little over $1 million. So we wanted to start off with a purchase order for $600,000 for the asphalt to C&E Concrete, and another $75,000 to Holly Frontier for our oil to get us started. And then as we move along, we'll probably be cutting back. We budgeted, I believe, $1 million for paving. We're hoping to do a little bit more depending on how our finances are going. We want to do as much as we can afford to get going on that. So I'm requesting your approval.
It's related to what you're doing. Those bumper blocks.
Right.
There's some back here, man, that's a no-no.
Right, I told them to take that out. That was a demo one that we were testing. And first day Nathan out, Counselor Padilla and I went to go look at some flooding issues that he got a call on, and we rode over that, and he was like, oh my gosh. So then I got several more calls, so I called them right away. I said, we need to take that speed hump out. So luckily we didn't buy a bunch. We just bought that one and one other.
They're almost a little sharp up on the back. Boom. It's a good thing I ain't run my car.
It's awful.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did they put the one on Balsam too, Nathan? No? Okay.
Make them
So
uniform. You know,
Well,
so they won't break a tire
we
or an
we were trying to buy pre-made because they are uniform, and they also, the paint we're thinking will last longer, because that's the issue we're having. But I asked Chris, our administrative assistant, if she can see if they have some that are not quite so abrupt, that are pre-made.
Oh, that's, I don't like bumper blocks myself, but we have to cut them. But especially like that. If somebody hits somebody that's real delicate, you'll be paying out more than what the paving costs. They'll sue you if you break a car.
Yeah, I agree, we need to get rid of them.
We did, we'll have to figure out a good use for them.
How many we get?
We got two basically, enough to make
You can
two.
basically use it for a fence.
Can we just recycle it?
We'll figure out something, right, Nathan? They'll work for bumpers, you know, to stop cars in parking lots or something. We'll use them.
That said, I entertain a motion to approve
I've
the,
got a
Yeah,
question
first,
or
go for it.
a comment or a statement. You know, while we're doing all this paving, which is good, it's great that we're doing the streets, but are we checking the water lines and sewer lines to make sure they're in great condition? Because if we're just paving and then, you know, the lines are breaking every so often and we're going out there and tearing up the streets again, I think it's pointless.
Right. No, we picked Mountain Road because their lines are already done.
Okay.
The lines are already done on that.
Like I said, are we monitoring the mix? You know, it's gotta be a certain temperature. The ambient temperature is gonna be a certain temperature. The moisture is gonna be a different, the hardness. Are we using any thermometers to?
Nathan's here, our street superintendent. Nathan, are you guys monitoring? I think C&E helps a lot with that. I know we got one bad batch on Stevens, and they came back and fixed it for us once. It was at the end of the season when it was getting too cold to pave it. They came back and fixed that
Yes, they
road.
came back and refogged the road for us this year because they admitted that they sent us the asphalt had no oil in it. And we were still just starting to pave, so we're just getting the kinks out as well as they were. This year, me and another gentleman went to Arizona for a week for a training for the laydown machine, the oil, the asphalt, so we know what we're looking for when it comes. It's not a certain temperature to send them away, you know, check all their stuff, so we're not, you know, getting bad stuff, so we know exactly what we're looking for.
Do you guys check the rolling patterns on those rollers, the right rollers? I understand you guys didn't have the right roller.
We did purchase a roller. It's a little smaller than what we need. So we have two that we're just going to have to use right now and go at the same time to try to pack it as well as a big one, just until we can see what we're gonna do with it.
Nathan, going back to the temperature on that, is there a way that you can monitor the temperature of the asphalt as it comes in?
Yes, sir. Right when CNE brings it, we'll stop them. We've got heat guns that we can stop them and check the temperature of the asphalt before they drop it into our laydown machine. And if it's not up to temperature, we can tell the driver to go back to CNE and call either Robert or Mr. Meach and let them know what's going on. So,
On that roller, is there a way we can trade two of them in and get one big one that we need?
actually, yes, I've got a paperwork from the gentleman that we bought the roller from, and he gave me an estimate of how much it would be for our brand new one and our used one for the size that we need. I think it's around, I believe, $64,000 for a brand new one, which is pretty much cutting it in half
Right.
for the size that we need. So,
What size do you need?
DD 110, and the size that we got is a DD 35.
That was a used one?
Oh, brand new.
I think they gotta be a certain weight.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. You don't want to leave any seams, so you want to get the big one and roll it all at one time.
Yeah.
That's
Pretty
what
much
I'm asking.
the smaller ones would be more like your finisher, just to get along the edges and
Right.
stuff like that. So,
Maybe we can put that in for the budget for next year.
yeah, what the roads we're doing, like Miss Laura was saying, is that we're doing half the mountain roads and then the middle streets between First and Second from behind the library up. So the smaller roller will do good for now because they're not really big sections of road. But once we start doing longer and longer, we'll have to get a bigger roller for it.
So on this, I entertain a motion to approve the $600,000 for paving.
I move that we approve $600,000 to CNE Concrete for paving material.
A second.
All in favor?
Yes.
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 Myself, yes. Okay. Thank you.
And then do the second one for 75,000.
Go for the oil.
For the oil. So,
I'll make a motion to approve the Holly Frontier refining for asphalt emulsions,
Emulsions.
$75,000.
I second it.
Cindy,
Yes.
Fred,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
and yes. Any comments from the council?
Mayor Hicks called right before the meeting and he wanted to make sure that I let the council know that he supports our police chief 100%. And I don't know if Steve wants to just talk for just a brief moment and tell them your recruitment effort and how that's going. This is Steve Chavez, our chief of police.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem, Council, City Manager. Again, my name is Steve Chavez, Chief of Police for the City of Grants. It's been in the media, a lot of uproar about folks that we've lost. I can guarantee that we are standing watch. I have a good group of men and women that are loyal to the community. We have certified officers. Up right now, I have 7 certified officers interested. Some of those I cannot take because of issues that I know that they've gotten from the past. But we are in the process of bringing on some good troops. We've got a few non-certified that I think we can use. So our losses will be short-lived. We will have a good crew, and the City of Grants Police Department will be a department that can bring honor to the city and good service.
How many are on staff right now?
Sworn officers right now, including myself, are 10.
10?
Yes, we are slated for 17. I think we're going to get back a sergeant position, so that would be 18. But right now we're at 10. We had 2 openings when this happened.
You say that the full staff will be 18?
Yeah, by the time we're winning. The problem with police departments is it's hard to keep everybody fully staffed because officers jump. That's just the nature of it. But losing officers to Rio Rancho, Sandoval County, Albuquerque, and Bernalillo County is always just, that's a big thing that really hurts small communities like this. But once we are up there, there's a lot of positive things that I know, things that I want to introduce later to the council, to mayor, and city manager, that I think we can do, that it's going to really bring positive influence to this community. I'm really going to start pushing towards community-oriented policing. They were starting to delve into that a little bit now when I first got put in office, and but I wanted to take it much further than that. Again, my motto when I was at the Pueblo of Laguna was, we are your department, we are your police, and that's what I want the citizens of Grants to understand, that we are your police department, and it'll be much more customer friendly, community oriented, and we will be on the job. We are on the job now with the 10 we have. We are expecting to get a certified officer here in the next week or so. Within the next 2 weeks, we'll have 2, and then for sure, and then in the next 3 weeks, we should have at least 3 to 4 officers at that time.
So all your lieutenants are gone?
My lieutenants are gone. I've just gotten word that we're going to be having a new lieutenant. He's a previous GPD officer, but that's got to come. So we're hoping for good things, and I think we got that. Anybody else?
Good.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Anything else from council?
I do, I have one.
Go ahead.
I was approached by, well, Mr. Padilla, I was approached by an individual who thinks that there is an increase in large truck traffic in his neighborhood, so he was wondering if someone could maybe think about a truck route. And I told him I would address the council and turn this information over to his elected official, Councilor Padilla. So,
I'll be there in the
he
morning.
may have a point.
Directing traffic.
And what's the area?
What's the area?
Did you say north second?
Yeah, it's Second and Roosevelt, the Second and Roosevelt, right by the library.
Is that part of the college construction? Because the college had construction.
See, I don't know, but it is an increase to what he's had in the past.
Did you just mention that C&E trucks were included?
He did, he mentioned C&E
But you know those
trucks
guys are delivering concrete.
and the delivery 18-wheelers to Smiths and other locations. He thinks maybe trucks should come into town via Sacaleras and not down Santa Fe and up First Street. Yeah, so that's his thoughts.
We can look at that.
I have one more. I had a complaint on our street sweeper that as it's sweeping and makes turns here and there, it's leaving some of the material, and it's just staying there. There's really nothing picked up, so I don't know if it's the driver issue or if it's the machine issue. It's not working properly or something.
I think it's a little of both. We had a new driver, and I don't know that he knew exactly how to operate it. Mark Teschma has already come to meet with me, and he's going to be over the street department. He said that was a concern of his, and that he would work with them to figure out something better for the street sweeper, because we get lots of complaints. It makes a bigger mess than it cleans.
It really does.
Yeah.
So that would,
Yeah, there's some spots on the claim that I've seen those piles of rock and
Yeah.
sediment or whatever.
Dust and,
Yep.
yeah, and stuff.
I talked to you before, and they will go back again here to the south side of Rio San Jose, all those trees. Les Gaines left me a list, and I think they left before they did. They started cleaning out this area, but they didn't clean that there's a lot of trees there. And there again, we go with the 100-year flood. What's gonna happen if we don't do it now?
Yeah, we did put a work order for our street crew.
A lot of said he's out and whatever.
Going back to the street sweeper, I checked into that. We have a sweeper, but it's not a vacuum. It doesn't vacuum anything. Am I right to say that?
What's that?
I said we have a street sweeper, but it's not a vacuum, so it doesn't vacuum anything. And a lot of times, if you don't set that grate on the pickup just right, or the brushes just right, it just goes right underneath it. So that's the problem, because I've already monitored and looked at it, we go behind them. But we haven't had a vacuum sweeper in quite a while, am I right?
That's true.
And that's really what we need.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing.
Are you just gonna be sweeping to the curb?
Right, that's what it was doing, and it was driver and set up the truck and all that, it just comes with time. Anything else?
That's it.
Entertained a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion that we adjourn.
I second.
Adjourn at 6:50. Thank you all for attending, and hope to see you again. Bring your complaints, bring your, there's no complaints.